Hey guys, welcome to Punky's World. This is going to be a genealogy video. I haven't done one of those in a while. That could be interesting. Anyways, we're going to talk about the foods that our ancestors would have eaten in their homelands. Mine, for instance, would have eaten a lot of root vegetables, carrots, potatoes, and turnips and parsnips, and oh my. They would have eaten cabbage. They would have eaten ham. Pork. Chicken. Well, actually, they might have eaten the eggs more than the chicken itself. But they would not have eaten beef. Even though we think of corned beef and cabbage as being the meal for St. Patrick's Day, and it's this supposedly Irish meal. It's not an Irish meal. It's a Jewish meal that was given to the Irish in New York City by their Jewish neighbors. So they what do you call it? I started making it on St. Patrick's Day because they didn't have the type of, I don't remember what it was, but access to the same stuff that they would have had, and they gave them the idea to use the corned beef. And so they began using it, and of course they had the cabbage, the potatoes, and the carrots already in their diet, which we talked about in the last video, is what we call a New England boiled dinner. And you also add onions to that, which they would have had. Just about anything that grew out of the ground. But their main staple crop, as we all know, was potatoes. But that is not why my family came here. My family came here after the famine. If your family happens to be from the Middle East, oh, I need to finish telling you about beef. The reason that the Irish didn't eat beef was because their cows were important to them, because they were expensive, and therefore the beef was expensive, and they needed the cow for milk. Excuse me. So they couldn't kill it and eat it. They needed its milk. My French family apparently ate lamb, which I guess my Irish family also would have eaten, because my grandmother made a lot of lamb. French meat pies. I'm trying to think of the other things that were very French that my father ate. But if your family happened to come from, say, oh, that hurts. No, that's not a country. That's my shoulder. The Middle Eastern region, One of their staple grains might have been couscous. There are actually a lot of grains from a lot of different parts of the world. If you're in Asia, one of your staple foods is going to be rice. Also fish, a lot of seafood, because they're right on the water, and if you had it, you ate it. In some parts of Scotland and Ireland, fish was a staple because, again, those parts were more on the water. My family didn't live on the water. The area where my family lived was not on the water. That being said, some of them lived in Glasgow and they would have eaten fish. Which is the largest port city in Scotland. So yeah, let's see what else. In school, I did a project on, we each had to choose a country and do a project on it, including the food. And we had a poster board. Well, my partner and I picked England. We didn't expect the food to be that much different. Oh, it is. It is. For instance, they eat fish for breakfast. Yeah. Sounds a little weird to me, but not to them. Um, when we say fish and chips, it's from the English. To them, chips are French fries. So if you order chips somewhere, you're going to get French fries. You're not going to get a bag of chips. Potato chips. I believe they call those fries. But anyway, so you're going to get different things. You just have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to look at your order and go, what on earth is that? Because depending on what you order, it will be different than the words you used. Even though you both speak English, the words mean different things. For instance, if you're going to vacuum over there or get a vacuum over there, if you're going to vacuum over there, you're hoovering. If you're going to get a vacuum, you're going to get a hoover. Don't know why they call it by the brand name, but they do. But their generic word for that is hoover and hoovering. So but it is. And it's funny how many times I watch like Life with Malamutes, and how many times they'll say something and Emily will quickly say, but this is how we say it in the UK. Like in the UK, a bottle is not a bubba, it's a butt. A binky, which is what we call a pacifier, is a dummy. So, but that doesn't have anything to do with food. It's just you get in trouble there. Anyway, if your ancestors are from Italy, they probably ate a heck of a lot of pasta and a heck of a lot of fish. They make all sorts of meat sauces. They make fresh sausages. Italy's food is so diverse. Vegetables. You may not know this, but they're a big citrus grower. They make olive oil, of course. They make wine. So, and even kids drink it. Honest to goodness, because they don't have drinking ages, they'll give a kid at dinner time a little, like a shot glass of wine with their dinner. It's like, okay. In the UK, however, I believe they do have a drinking age. I believe it's either 17 or 18, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's 18 in Canada, but I believe it is in the UK as well. I think at one time they didn't have a drinking age, but it changed. I know other European countries like Italy don't have one. So they say that prevents alcoholism, because if you've always been exposed to it and you've always been able to do it and it's not a taboo, you won't overdo it. That's the theory. I'm trying to get the sun out of my eyes. Yes. There we go. The theory is you won't overdo it. I don't know. I guess that works. I guess the numbers bear that out. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. If your family is from Spain, you will have tapas, which are little mini meals. Like a whole bunch of little mini things. That's one of the things that they have. Again, you're talking fish. They're a little on the spicy side. If you're from Mexico, doesn't mean you eat tacos all the time. They eat a lot of chicken, actually, in Central and South America. A lot of chicken. Because it was inexpensive. Not so inexpensive now. Have you been to the grocery store recently? So yeah, it's ooh, that's interesting. And if your family is from, let's see, oh, my family is, as I told you, Scotch Irish. That means at one time or another they ate a disgusting conglomeration called haggis. No, thank you. You stick it in an animal's stomach, filled with all kinds of gross, disgusting things that I wouldn't touch. Oh, it was that recently. Well, gee, that kind of sucks. He's talking about Detective Tom Augustine. Um, he just passed October 15th. Sheesh. Anyway, um, I I love to learn about different cultures where people eat different places and all sorts of stuff. Um, if you are in India, you're probably not eating curry. If you're in London, you might be. Um, but overall, you don't really eat it. And curry powder was of spices that was made in England. If you're in India, though, you're probably eating some exotic spices that very rarely get here. You're Let's see, and some that do, because they grow a lot of our spices. Not the herbs, the spices. The difference is that herbs are stems and leaves. Spices are seeds, berries, that part of the plant. Stamens of a flower. Most expensive spice in the world is the stamen of a flower. Saffron. And I believe they grow ginger and turmeric, because turmeric is actually a root like ginger, but generally we get it powdered. They grow all sorts of amazing things over there, and again, in some parts they eat fish, but they eat rice, they eat other grains. They do not, in India, under any circumstances, eat beef. They can't even serve it at McDonald's. And they do have McDonald's over there. They cannot serve beef because cows are sacred to their religion, to Hindi. So they cannot, to Hindu. Sorry, Hindi's the language, Hindu's the religion. So they cannot and will not eat it. I think in the end, you will not eat pork. So chances are, if you're planning on going to Israel, don't look for any barbecue, pork barbecue, because you ain't finding it. Because it's considered unclean in the Jewish faith. So yeah, don't look for any barbecued pork over there, because you're not gonna find it. I'm trying to get the sun out of my face. Anyway, there we go. So it's so interesting too to think about what people eat in different places, because it's so different from us. Yeah, Elton Brown actually showed a haggis recipe. He did a skit with a haggis recipe. It's disgusting. And nobody would eat it now. Gross! But I know my ancestors at one time or another ate the stuff. So, anyway. Yeah, they've stuffed it in the animal's stomach and pig's stomach. And they tied it up with the, oh crap, what is it called? It's the fat from the gut lining. And it's like a web. And they tie it up in that, keeps it moist, and then they plunk it in a pot of boiling water and let it have it. Or let it add it, or whatever. But they just let it go, basically. So yeah, if you're curious, look up a recipe for it. It's disgusting. I'm trying to think. If you're from the Nordic area, probably going to eat a lot of fish. In fact, getting back to Italy, Christmas Eve, they have what is called the Feast of the Seven Fishes. It's very traditional, where they cook 7 different types of fish. Whether it be a flatfish or a cod or a lobster or a crab or a scallop. 7 different fishes, and eat them. I don't know exactly where that tradition came from in Italy, but I know it's a tradition in Italy, and Italians in the US still do it. So you have that huge meal Christmas Eve, then you got to have Christmas dinner. I just spent 3 hours doing dishes. I don't want to spend 3 hours doing dishes tomorrow, you know? I don't think in a lot of countries they eat turkey because they plain don't have access to it. Turkey is native to here. In fact, if you go to this morning's video, you will see a troop of them coming up the driveway here on this side. Because that's what they do. They live here, you know. So we have access to them. We raise domestic turkey, which are giant, white, fat birds. So fat, in fact, they cannot mate on their own. Those poor things. Anyway. So yeah, they wouldn't have access to it necessarily in a lot of places. They probably do have access to it in England. They may even have a few turkey farms over there. I don't know. As a rule here, we don't eat geese. However, they do. I am trying so hard to get that sun out of my face on the camera, and it's not working. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's better. Let me push that out of the way. There we go. That's better. So they oh, it's dark. Really? Come on. I'm at work with May. Anyway. I'm trying, guys. I am trying the best that I can. There we go. That's better. So they might eat it. I do know that they do eat goose because I watched Jamie Oliver actually cook one. I don't think I would like it. I think it would be gamey, just like duck. Although I guess a lot of people here eat duck. Ugh. Now, just the idea of eating Donald? No. Or Daffy, you know. So no, I definitely would not do that. So I am going to have a wrestling video for you coming up because I just got a huge news update that I want to share with you. But yeah, I think that's another part of genealogy is learning your ancestors' cultures. Part of their cultures is what they put in their bellies, you know. And that's part of their cultures that they were able to bring here. And part of my culture that I continue is the food. Although I do eat a lot of Italian. Now, spaghetti and meatballs is not something you're going to get in Italy, just so you know. Because spaghetti is the wrong pasta to put with meatballs. So they do not do that. They will make a bolognese, which is a ground beef. Actually, they use beef, lamb, and pork mix, like meatloaf mix, and they'll make a sauce called bolognese out of that. They even add milk to it. It's like a scrambled hamburger type sauce. And here in the U.S., we've made our own sort of food traditions. For those of you outside the U.S., we have something called American chop suey. They say it was created in the school cafeterias here in New England. I can't really remember rarely having it in the school cafeteria. My mother made it. It was the first thing she taught me how to make. It's very flavorful. If you've never had it, you cook elbow macaronis, and I have to make this quick. And you make a spaghetti sauce, basically. You scramble up hamburger in the frying pan, cook it up, put onions and peppers in there, cook that up, put in your tomato ingredients, or you can just put in a can of sauce, either one, and heat that through. It's all done in the electric frying pan. Drain your pasta and mix it together. Make some garlic bread if you want. Put some cheese over it if you want. You're all set. Or just do bread and butter to dip in your sauce. It's absolutely delicious. Shepherd's pie is not American, however, that is English. That also comes from my people, my mother's English heritage. However, they would have used ground lamb, not ground beef. I would imagine for the same reason that the Irish wouldn't have used beef, because cows are so damn expensive and they needed the milk. Thank you for joining me on this genealogical journey through food. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please click subscribe. God bless you, and I'll see you after.